Dear Comicsgate, this message goes out to all of our friends in the fandom menace. To the Trekkies and to the lurkers, to the fans of Galactica, Terminator, Predator, Aliens, pretty much everything. This message goes out to everyone in fandom, but mostly it goes out to the people who like Star Wars and the people who support Gina Carano. I desperately need all of you to do me a favor. I need you to abandon all hope. Yeah, I know, that sounds like a pretty loaded statement, but stick with me here, this will all make sense in the end. To understand where I'm coming from, we need to go back to ancient Greek mythology, where hope was the last evil contained in Pandora's box. In modern times, we've come to misinterpret the meaning and the warning about hope from antiquity. I mean, after all, how could hope be a bad thing? How could hope possibly be evil? I'm here today to tell you that the ancients were right. Really ask yourself the question, what is hope? I'll tell you, hope is an unanswered wish. Hope is a lie. Hope is an empty platitude. Hope is an excuse for inaction. Hope is that little voice that makes you compromise everything that you claim to hold sacred. Hope is what compels you to betray your principles and your values. The prequels underwhelmed the fandom, sowing the seeds for derision in the Star Wars community. Suddenly we hear that Disney, an evil soulless corporation, is going to acquire Star Wars, and suddenly fans let their hearts fill with hope. Rushing off to support a venture that would nearly destroy Star Wars as a viable franchise. Abandon all hope. Fans reject Kathleen Kennedy's version of Star Wars with The Last Jedi, swearing off the franchise, until they hear that Bob Iger is taking a direct hand, and he gives us Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. Why would you put your faith in a man like Bob Iger? A man who epitomizes mediocrity, a man who has grown the empire of Disney by acquisition, buying out the competition, hoarding the creative properties of others, a man who has never created anything in his life, a man who literally lied to George Lucas and stabbed him in the proverbial back. And yet, fans had hope, which is why they were willing to put their money behind Bob Iger. Fans cheer for this man as they assure their fellows to continue their support of Disney Star Wars, because Bob Iger, soulless corporate executive, gives them hope. Then, Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni create a middling little show, borrowing heavily from nostalgia as they draw upon the modern classic of Lone Wolf and Cub to serve as the premise of their series, and suddenly, shouts of hope erupt from the din. Fans, filled with hope, clamor to reach this patch of dry land in the vast sea of Kathleen Kennedy's miserable failures, and the fandom cling desperately to that crumbling spot of sand, all in the hope it can somehow serve as the bedrock of a Star Wars renaissance. And as fans marvel, wide eyes, hearts bursting with wistful memories, fail to notice that the tide is coming in. In December of 2020, I canceled my free subscription to Disney Plus because I was not about to give the House of Mouse $1 of financial support. I posted the hashtag #CancelDisneyPlus. December 2020, as I reminded everyone that Disney had not changed. Kathleen Kennedy was still in charge. Kathy's cronies were still in power. I tried to remind everyone that one mediocre series whose greatness stemmed from hopping over the incredibly low hurdle of being better written than The Force Awakens does not mend the damage that has been done by radical ideologues who sought to use Star Wars as a platform to spread a message of hate and a doctrine of intolerance. I tried to shake loose the cobwebs from the minds of my peers to remember that Disney Star Wars despises the fans, and they are mortified by the knowledge that you love Star Wars more than you love their twisted, derisive ideology that preaches that you are a bad person for not worshiping at their political altar. When I posted Cancel Disney Plus back in December, I was mocked, I was derided, I listened to fans scoff, "There's no need to fear, we have put our hopes in Jon Favreau, and he has given us Cara Dune, and she proves that we are not the sexist that Kathleen Kennedy accuses us of being." 1 month later, Gina Carano is fired. Cara Dune is dead. Kathleen Kennedy is still in power. Jon Favreau is still beholden to Kathy's cronies. And the soulless corporation known as Disney does not care. And it's our fault. We paid for Disney Plus. We gave financial support to a property under occupation by the enemy, giving them a victory they could spin to the cavalcade of withered, witless old men on the Disney Board of Executives who don't care or understand Star Wars at all because they have never had a creative idea in their whole selfish lives. Dusty, wheezing, decrepit relics of a bygone era who don't care if their money is invested in movies, computers, or lemonade, only that their investment makes money. The money we gave them. Money used as proof to these short-sighted fools mummified in Armani suits to let the people who have abused our fandom for years remain in positions of power so they can continue to abuse the fandom for a few years more. All because you dared to hope. You know, Pandora spent the rest of her life chasing after the evil she had unleashed into the world of mortal men. She would chase the last evil to the ends of the earth. It would dart and it would dive, and just when she thought she had it cornered, just when she was convinced that her hope would be rewarded, hope slipped through her grasp and the chase began again, letting all the other evils rampage across the globe while Pandora focused on chasing after hope, 'cause hope filled her heart that if she just kept trying, she would finally catch it. I say to you, abandon all hope. As long as you cling to hope, you will make the same mistake as Pandora, and you will continue to fall into this trap over and over and over again. Abandon all hope. Choose instead acceptance. Accept the truth that Star Wars cannot be healed until Kathleen Kennedy is gone. Accept the truth that the Star Wars you love will not come back to you so long as Kathy's cronies are in power. Jon Favreau is literally on the deck, and he can't do anything. Accept the truth that every dollar you feed the mouse is one more day that you will not get Star Wars back. Accept the truth that those morsels of good story and character that made you love Star Wars in the first place are now only being used as bait to trick you into supporting the career and the agenda of Kathleen Kennedy, and that every time you fall for this trap, you give her more power and you justify the inaction of the Disney board that will refuse to fire her so long as Star Wars makes them a little bit of money. Abandon all hope. Turn a deaf ear to the throng of fans who would use your love of Star Wars to shame you into supporting the disease that is eating Star Wars alive every single day. They will tell you that if you don't support Kathy's version of Star Wars, then Star Wars will die. That is a lie. What made Star Wars great still remains. What makes Star Wars great still endures. Starving the mouse of money will not kill Star Wars. Refusing to give Disney our money will starve the disease that has infected Star Wars. When the cancer has been cut out, when the infection has run its course, and the fever breaks, the Star Wars you love will remain, and it will be ready to go on a new adventure. But if you cling to hope, if you continue to fall for the trap again and again and again, you will only nourish the disease. And Star Wars will die, and it'll be your fault. Abandon all hope. It's the only way to win. Star Wars is strong enough as a franchise to survive without your cash for a couple of years. But at the same time, you have to let the executives over at Disney know why you're not supporting Star Wars. And I'm not talking about making a video on YouTube that they won't watch. I'm not talking about putting a tweet onto Twitter that they're never going to read. Again, these are decrepit old men in suits. You want to get your message across to Disney? There is only one way to do it. You have to grab a paper, grab a pen, write a letter, stick it in an envelope, and actually send it through the United States Postal Service with a stamp. Because every paper letter they receive, they consider that the opinion of 200 people. Every tweet you make, every video you compose, every message you drop on a board, and every email that you send out just gets ignored. If you love Star Wars, I need you to abandon all hope and instead take action. Because long as you're hoping that somebody else will do something somewhere, sometime, you won't. And if you don't do something, nothing gets done at all. And it's not just Star Wars. As I said, it's Star Trek. It's Babylon 5. It's Battlestar Galactica. It's Terminator, Aliens, and Predator. It's everything. You need to tell these old men how you really feel through a medium they understand. And what they understand is the written word, on paper with a pen and ink. They understand seeing a drop in their bottom line because you chose not to support what they are dishing out. Abandon all hope and instead take up the tools of war. And in this case, the tools of war is a pen, a paper, and a stamp. And if that just happens to be a little bit too much to ask of you, then at the very least, stop giving them your money. Because the only way to fight the disease is to starve it out. This is Inchide Comic Guy telling all of you to abandon all hope and instead get out there and take some action.